Blade Trinity, the third film in the Blade Trinity, directed by David S. Goyer. Once again, Wesley Snipes is back as Blade, and the story for this movie is vampires are now public knowledge. Everyone knows about vampires and how they operate, and where they're at, what their weaknesses are, what their strengths are. Some people still don't know that vampires exist. But they do know that one man does exist for sure, and that man is Blade. In this movie, the feds are after Blade. They enter his hideout, they capture Blade, and they kill Whistler in this movie again. So Blade is taken to a detention facility. And here we learn that some of the members of the feds are vampires, or at least they work for vampires. You can see a couple of vampires come on in and interrogate Blade. We see Jarko Grimwood in the movie, who is portrayed by Triple H. We have Parker Posey in the film. They interrogate Blade. And then, before things get worse, we see Hannibal King, portrayed by Ryan Reynolds. We have Abigail Whistler in the movie, portrayed by Jessica Biel. They rescue Blade and they take them to their hideout. So meanwhile, the vampires in this film, they go to a desert, the pyramids, and they discover the tomb of Dracula. Dracula is the main villain in this movie. And Dracula is described as the first vampire, the one who started it all. And Dracula in this movie is portrayed by Dominic Purcell. So the vampires, they take Dracula to their hideout. So we go back to Blade and his crew. They're called the Night Stalkers. I like the Night Stalkers. I can take them more seriously than the Blood Pack in Blade 2. So Abigail Whistler, she is the daughter of Abraham Whistler. That kind of makes sense for her to reach out to Blade. And you have Hannibal King, Ryan Reynolds. I mean, you can't really hate Ryan Reynolds in a movie. I mean, you really can't. He's funny. You know, even if you have a bad movie, he's the shining star in it. Maybe except for Green Lantern. But so they track down all of the associates known for Dracula. And that leads them going to some type of like a blood farm. And that's where they distribute blood, the vampires, and then they feed like the rest of the bodies to Dracula or something. And then while Blade and Abigail Whistler are at a blood farm, Dracula learns about the whereabouts of Blade's other team members. So he goes to Blade's hideout and he captures Hannibal King. He kills some people there. I mean, the final 45 minutes of this movie, it feels like a horror movie. You know, Hannibal King is captured. Yeah, you have Pat Oswalt. He's in this film. His character gets killed. You have a tall black dude who he's playing basketball with. He gets killed. You have a blind woman in the movie who's working on like a vampire serum or cure. You know, she gets killed. And then you have Dracula prowling around as Abraham Whistler. I mean, the final 45 minutes, it feels creepy. It feels kind of scary. It's like a horror movie. You know, the first part of the movie is a Blade movie, and now it's a horror film. But that's how good David S. Goyer is. You know, that's why the Dark Knight movies are written pretty good and dark, because he's, you know, a part of that team. So Blade, Abigail, they get back, they learn what happened, and they go and track down Dracula and his crew. They ended up defeating Dracula and his crew. They ended up freeing Hannibal King. And that's pretty much the movie right there. As far as my thoughts, I love Blade Trinity. I give it a 10 out of 10. I thought the film did what it needed to do. There's a lot of action. I felt Dracula felt like a threat in this movie. You know, he looked scary, kind of like Darth Maul from Star Wars a little bit. And he's always lurking around, you know, sneaking around, looking for people. You know, This movie has a star-studded cast. I mean, you got Dominic Purcell, you got Jessica Biel, you got Ryan Reynolds, you got Parker Posey, you got Triple H. I mean, there's a lot of big name people in this film. As far as any issues with this film, I don't have much. Only one. They killed Whistler in this movie. I don't know why they brought back Whistler. To me, he should have stayed dead. Um, and they had the use of Dracula in this movie. You know, Bram Stoker's Dracula. I mean, to me, when you ever use Dracula in a movie, you're kind of starting out to run out of ideas. Not that you can't use Dracula, but you know, oh, what movie are we going to do for Blade 3? What's the villain going to be? Oh, let's use Dracula. That's a great idea. I guess, you know, he's a vampire, so let's have Blade hunt him down. Alright. But I thought they did Dracula, you know, pretty well in this movie. You know, they went over his origin very quickly. They introduced him into society quickly. So I thought it was alright. But, yeah, the use of Dracula in this movie, you know, they did do a lot of product placement with Dracula. Like, they had, like, Dracula walk into, like, a gift shop. You know, there was, like, Dracula, you know, merchandise. There was Dracula soft drinks. You know, Dracula from Sesame Street. Yeah, Count Chocula cereal. Very weird. I mean, you know, I've been to some gift shops on the beach, and they do have some Halloween-themed stuff, but not like this. I mean, Dracula was everywhere, so that was a little bit weird. And another form of product placement they had a Marvel comic book that Blade picked up and said, Marvel Comics Group, The Tomb of Dracula. Which was kind of breaking the fourth wall there. You know, another issue, I think maybe the film kind of did too much. You know, having Blade team up with a bunch of people, you know, Dracula, you're getting the feds involved. But at the same time, I think they well balanced out. They connected Blade and his crew to the antagonists in the film, and they connected the feds to the vampires, and they connected all that to Dracula. You know, now this movie did get negative reviews from critics in theaters. I don't really know why. I mean, I kind of get it, but there wasn't really a whole lot of issues in this film to make me hate it, make me dislike it. Now, if you're a fan of the other two Blade movies, I think you'll like this one. If you're a fan of vampires or, you know, Dracula, you might like this movie. If you like Ryan Reynolds, you might like this movie. I don't know, but I don't have a problem with it. I love Blade Trinity. I watched it back the first time, enjoyed it. I watched it back earlier today, and I still enjoy it. So, Blade Trinity, solid 10 out of 10. Maybe a couple issues I've had, but it didn't really affect the performance of the movie. So, that's Blade Trinity.